I was born in New York City, but I grew up in Berkeley, California. I moved back to New York at the age of 19 with a specific aspiration of being a jazz messenger. How that came to be that I knew I wanted to come back to New York and be a jazz messenger was I would go to the Keystone Corner, the great club in San Francisco, and hear groups, including Woody Shaw's band. In about 1980, if not 81, Woody Shaw released an album on the Columbia label called United, and it was Mulgrew Miller's very first recording. And they were playing it on the radio. It was the closest thing in sound, this record, to a classic Blue Note record that I'd heard in many years. And as with hearing Cedar Walton's Eastern Rebellion a few years before, I had to immediately go out and get Woody Shaw's United to listen to this young man named Mulgrew Miller play the piano. A few months afterwards, the same band that was on the United record, Woody Shaw, Steve Turre, Mulgrew Miller, Stafford James, and Tony Reedus, came to the Keystone Corner. And I watched Mulgrew, and I knew that this was the next man in line in the heritage of jazz piano. I knew it. I felt it in my heart. I moved to New York in the spring of 1982. I was 19, and within a few weeks, I had the great privilege and pleasure to meet Mulgrew Miller. And what I encountered from day one was the most peaceful, spiritual gentleman. He was 26, going on 27 at the time. I was 19. And a lot of young pianists, certainly pianists in their 20s, are rather competitive, if not aggressively so. At least there's some territory there. And not so with Mulgrew. I would go down to the Village Vanguard, where Woody Shaw's band would be playing for a week, from a Tuesday through a Sunday, and Mulgrew Miller would have me sit in with the band every single night on the second set. In hindsight, I should have just been sitting there and listening to him, but that's how selfless he was even at 27 years old. Anyone who encountered Mulgrew or saw him in a graceful moment, that's not an act, that's not just him at his best, it was consistent. And I spoke with Mulgrew once years later. We were on a plane together coming home from the Mount Fuji Jazz Festival in Japan, flying back to New York. I was sitting next to Mulgrew, and I said, Mulgrew, I watch you, and it seems that not as many altercations occur between you and people as with others. I said, could you tell me something about that? Is it true? Is it my imagination? And Mulgrew thought for a few seconds, and he said, well, you know, Benny, I love people. He says, I really do. And people have insecurities. And I feel that if you can see a person's insecurities, you have the ability to get along with them. Yes, he was a very spiritual man. And I truly believe, to this day, as I did when I was 19, that he was the next in line in the great heritage of the piano. I mean, it's very clear a kind of legacy such as Hank Jones, to Tommy Flanagan, to Cedar Walton, to Kenny Barron, to Mulgrew Miller. If you just look at recording sessions and who are the people of their generation who ever want to hook up the band and make the music feel slick and both timeless and of the moment and classic, Mulgrew was and is that guy. He's the one that the couple of generations that have followed him have primarily imitated, pianists, and he was the one who we all wanted to be our elder statesman and spokesman for the piano. Not only because of his experience, talent, and genius, but because of how this man conducted himself. He was a true gentleman. I love Mulgrew and I miss him so much. Hi, I'm Benny Green. For more jazz interviews and videos, please go to jazztimes.com.